Ben Mezrich. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
You've done our show for many years now, sir.
A lot of times, for a long time.
And when I saw the Oscars and you got on that stage with the Social Network crew, I was like, God, I know that guy.
It was nuts. That came out. I mean, the kind of stuff I write you don't expect is going to win an Oscar.
It's amazing.
It's just Aaron Sorkin, scripted it and wrote an unbelievable thing, and David Fincher directed it, and it was just amazing.
Is that the first person you ever knew that was on the stage getting an Oscar?
Well, I was on the stage for the Globes. The Oscar, Aaron Sorkin thanked me.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. That's right.
Oh, okay, right.
Damn it, should have went up there.
I know, but King's Speech.
I mean, he's done our show enough where I feel like he's
just run up though.
He's kind of he's a friend of the show. You know what I mean? Those type of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but wow. And now you got Sex on the Moon.
Sex on the Moon.
No, Jimmy read the first 100 pages to get ready for this interview, but he had to go out to
I love Jimmy.
L.A. to do Leno. Yeah. But he said before he left, this book is really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
He loved the first 100 pages.
This is the craziest story I've been involved with. I mean, this is a kid who was at NASA. He was basically on his way to the astronaut training program, college kid, brilliant, fell in love with a girl who was an intern there, and to impress her, he broke into the lab, this impregnable lab, and stole a 600-pound safe full of moon rocks from every moon landing in history. And they're the most valuable thing on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
1 gram was once sold for $5 million.
Wow.
And he spreads them on a bed and has sex with his girlfriend on the moon and then tries to sell them to this guy he meets on the internet. Turns into a huge FBI sting operation, 100 agents and guns and everything. And he goes to jail for 7.5 years and then calls me when he gets out. And he's like, I want to tell, because he saw my movies and my books in prison. They called him Moon Rock in prison. That was his nickname. And no one had ever heard the story before.
I was just going to say, why didn't we hear this story?
Because NASA didn't want anybody to know. It was very embarrassing for them.
Yeah, I
and
gather.
There had been one article written about it. I mean, he was one of their own. He was going to be an astronaut. And he just fell in love. I mean, everyone's done something stupid out of love, but that was like really stupid.
And Jimmy, I don't know how much of the book you want to give away, but Jimmy was telling us a little bit about these moon rocks and how valuable they are.
It's crazy.
And how they're not, they're in sealed containers and stuff, and they don't want the containers opened. And
yeah, because they've only been gotten once in history, during the space Apollo missions. Everyone went to the moon, and we got, 840 pounds is all there is in existence.
840 pounds of moon rocks is all it's here.
And NASA has it all in these locked labs and sealed in little bags. They were each brought back by hand from the moon.
From the fake moon landing?
From the fake moon. NASA created them in a laboratory.
Buzz Aldrin will punch you in the face.
He will.
Mr. fucking fake Buzz. I've never seen Buzz in the same room with fucking...
That's right. Didn't he punch somebody?
He did. Yeah, some blogger guy with a camera came up in his face and said, yeah, why don't you tell us how the moon landing was faked? Yeah. He leaned over and fucking clocked him right in the face.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic.
How do you test the authenticity of a moon rock, by the way, sir?
Well, first of all, the guys who actually brought it back, when they sealed it and it came off of the space capsule.
No, if I was saying I had
today,
one
there actually is a way to do it.
So I'm like, this is from the moon.
Yeah. So what you do, first of all, there's a way to look at it, and you can tell the difference between a moon rock that was on the moon and a moon rock that came on an asteroid or whatever, because the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, so it has mini craters all over it, and supposedly it's not possible in a lab to fake that. But I'm not an expert, but the guy who he tried to sell it to was a Belgian gem dealer, and who had never been out of Antwerp, Belgium in his life, and he's the one who called the FBI. He became the FBI's expert on moon rocks.
Oh, what a bastard.
He decided...
He snitched on the moon rock kid?
He snitched on moon rock kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
who cares? They're just a bunch of rocks.
Well, and the kid... so there was a way to test them to see whether they were real or not. And it's in the book. I don't remember. It's pretty... there's a way to tell the difference. But I will say, one of the guys... who went to jail for 5 years for this crime. He was like the middleman. He found the guy on the internet. When I called him to interview him, the first thing he said to me is, "You don't think we really made it to the moon, do you?" So literally one of the kids who tried to sell the rocks didn't even believe they were from the moon. So there's a lot of people who still think that way.
I'm going to be very honest.
Yeah.
I was just like, Ben Mezrich could kiss my ass with this stupid book.
He's a fellow Boston guy.
Yeah. I don't like white people from Boston, man. I despise these new Boston movies, by the way, where they're fucking pulling their bootstraps up. And
Boston's the place to film these.
But I wanted to say that this 5 minutes This
fascinating,
is
right?
I love this.
This is fucking fascinating.
I'm psyched.
I apologize for where my mind was.
No, I
they
like
gave
that.
me the fucking the sheet to go, and I'm just like,
I'm winning you
Ben.
over.
This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
Ben knows how to tell a story.
This is fucking fantastic.
Thank you. But I will also say, when I wrote Bringing Down the House,
Which
so I
is
wrote the book
still my
about
favorite
the
book you've
MIT
done.
Blackjack team. But the book
21.
Mm-hmm. The book came out the same week the Queen Latifah movie Bringing Down the House came out. So everybody I knew kept calling me and saying, "I'm seeing billboards for your book. What does Queen Latifah play in your book?" And I just say, I know I wrote the one about the MIT Blackjack team, and we had these different...
Here's how they knew that one was Ben's and the other one was black. The word "the" was spelled D-A. That's how you know. If it's D-A,
Bring it down the house.
That's the one for you.
That's the black one.
Can I ask you one question? I don't know if you want to answer this.
I'll answer anything.
Well, because it's been a few years now. I've told you many times I loved Bringing Down the House, the book. I didn't like the movie so much.
21?
I didn't hate it.
Well, that's not on him, though.
But I want to ask him now that it's been a few years.
Yeah.
It was his baby they made into a film.
Right.
Are you happy with the film?
How much control do you
I have no
though?
control over anything.
So when people write books, you're
We're
just
like lower than the
completely
caterer, yeah. We're the
you-
lowest person.
They buy the rights and they tell you to go whatever.
Well, I was on set.
And you're
but
not a Boston cracker, by the way. You're Jewish, right?
I am Jewish,
So
yes.
this is not a Boston
So
cracker thing. I even like him because he's a Boston Jew.
right.
And he went through what I went through.
Did you like what they did with your book?
Little
Now that it's
less,
been a
well.
few years.
You know what? I actually like 21 because every 21-year-old guy watches that movie before they go to Vegas. So it captured something about like kids hitting Vegas. It's not like Rounders. It's not like the Rounders of Blackjack.
Right.
And they didn't set out to make that. And Rounders didn't do well. And so they made a movie that was like, which is a great movie.
You know what Ben is? Ben is the Michael Crichton
There you go.
of the information age.
I want to put that on the back of my next
God
book.
damn,
I'm
Patrice
gonna
O'Neill.
Nice.
Yes, Patrice O'Neill.
The Michael Crichton of the information age.
They probably even there's something better, but you're
That's pretty good, though, Patrice.
He's
I
the
like that.
Twitter, not MySpace anymore, but the Facebook, Twitter. He's that guy. They're gonna
like
make
that.
all his movies. He's the young, fucking everybody. Let's make a movie that's young and
like it.
relevant.
Right.
This is the man you talk to right here.
You already have 2 movies under your belt.
Two, yeah.
Two of your books made into movies. Any more?
Well, Sex on the Moon, we sold it to the same producers of The Social Network. So it's Kevin Spacey and Scott Rudin and Dana Bernetti and DeLuca, and it's being made by Columbia Sony. So this is the next one.
Kevin Spacey's a producer,
He produced
player now. He's a player
21,
now?
and he produced Social Network in this one. Yeah.
Produced Social Network.
He was the one. He's my first reader. So when I finished the book, I sent it to Kevin, and he's been, a big.
And he's feeling that.
He loves it, and we've already. They're already working on it.
Money, man.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, he's making money.
You're
Look at his
making
fucking wife.
money, man.
This piece of shit gets her.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I don't.
Let's be
deserve her.
honest here.
This guy is banking.
Fucking
She's
you
awesome.
crazy? You see this 10?
Yeah, she's way hotter than me.
Man,
I agree with that.
Look at Ben's song.
I can't wait till his 5th book and he's
If you
just
had
hitting her in the
seen
head
me-
with it. Like,
If you had seen me in college,
oh, Ben, Ben, let's do something. Get you see me writing.
When you see me writing.
How you think you got those shoes?
What you're saying is don't ever take it for
writing?
granted.
I don't
Ben,
think-
don't ever take it for granted.
Whatever the fuck you see me doing.
Why do you think you're here?
Like The Shining. When you hear this, stay the fuck away from Wendy.
if you had seen me in college, you'd know I was 114 pounds as a college senior at 5'10". I looked like Chris Evans before he becomes Captain America.
Yeah.
So,
We were just talking about that yesterday.
things,
yeah.
things have worked out much better.
So to this kid,
Seems like a nice guy there.
so
Seems like a very nice, nice guy. I wish you well. I wish this guy well already.
I like this.
this kid that stole the moon rocks, did he
Yeah.
ruin the moon rocks? Did he open them up from the
he had
containers
sex on
and
some
stuff?
of them, so they frown upon that. And then nobody really. He actually ate a little piece also because he wanted to be the only person to have a moon rock in his blood.
Oh my God!
Is
that dangerous?
He packed it all
Wants to
back
be a
up,
mutant.
and he put it in a FedEx box, the stuff he wasn't going to sell, to return to NASA. He was actually a good kid. He just did something stupid. He tried to sell for $100,000 a portion of it. He didn't realize the person he was selling to had already turned to the FBI. So he walks into this restaurant, and he notices everyone in the restaurant is between the ages of 30 and 40 because they were all FBI agents. And he remembers looking at it, and I got all of the FBI files. I filed with the FBI, and I got 1,000 pages. And the first thing he says to the FBI agent is like, man, I hope you're not wearing a wire or I'm fucked. That's the first thing he says.
That's a great thing to have on recording, too.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was over right
now,
there.
When you're talking with the people from the books that you're writing, okay? Now, do you have to call your books fiction? Because you have to, or you can call it an actual story.
These are true stories. I mean,
how do you corroborate and make sure that it's absolutely, positively real?
And I interview everyone I can, pretty much, and then I get all the court documents and I get the FBI files and I interview hundreds of people and I've got, by the end, I've got like 10,000 pages of
When he says,
stuff.
when you name the book Sex on the Moon.
That was my wife's title, by the way. So I'm not the dirty mind behind the title.
Don't give her credit.
She got the title.
Let her stay delusional.
Let me tell you a little story.
Sex on the Moon. Yeah, great. Thanks for your little title.
Let me tell you a little story about a guy that was in a band that eventually got him into radio.
Yeah.
And he was married to a girl that worked at a bar. And before they got married, he went into this bar and met one of the guys in the band that eventually he got in with, wrote some song parodies, and got on the radio with. The lawyer used that as if she wasn't working at the bar, he wouldn't have hooked up with the band, wouldn't have written this song, sent it into a guy, let's just call him Opie, and wound up getting on the show. That became the Opie and Anthony show, and then got raped of half his shit.
Don't ever admit that stuff.
So what he's saying is,
don't admit it.
Always have,
just say
always mistrust her.
Do you think, honestly...
Don't look at her, Ben.
Don't look.
Don't look at her, Ben, because if you get writer's block, she might be on a magic carpet right out of here.
Do you think during Howard Stern's divorce proceedings that he loved the fact that in his movie he went, and it was Allison. It was all about Allison.
I give my girl no credit.
Shit, it's in a movie.
I'm telling my girl right now, you get no credit, bitch.
There's some
for
bitterness.
Nothing.
I hear some bitterness in here.
When she said that book title, you should have said that's a great. I already have it written down. We're thinking alike.
We're thinking the same
something like that.
Yeah.
So give her a little credit.
Parallel thinking.
Yeah,
parallel
exactly.
thinking.
Wow.
You should have called it lunar fucking, just because she called it sex on the moon. But let me ask you a question, Ben. So when you call it sex on the moon, it's so, his story of having sex on the rocks is so important to the name of the book. That how do you just have to take it for granted that he's telling you the truth?
So what happens is they're in a hotel, they're about to go to this restaurant. There's a third character named Gordon who's like this druggy, so this Gordon was like a pothead who the main character, Thad Roberts, had come to and said, you might know criminals, can you tell me how I can sell these moon rocks? And so Gordon is the one who went on the internet and found some guy. Gordon
found a great guy.
Gordon didn't even realize that they were real moon rocks. He didn't know his friend worked at NASA. He didn't even believe we'd been to the moon. So he shows up at the hotel room. He walks in, and Thad Roberts says, here's the moon rocks. And he looks in, and he sees all these NASA emblems, and he's like, oh, fuck. And he's like, we could get in a lot of trouble. And Thad's like, yeah, it's all set up. And so Gordon says, I'm going to go get a pizza, because he's like totally stoned. So he walks out of the hotel room, and that's when Thad does the sex scene, and Gordon comes back into the hotel, and the girl, they're just finished with having sex.
There is somebody
and then they say they just had sex on the moon rock. So there's a third person who just walked into the room. And then at trial, and he said it again, he talked about it. So in the end, you're right. I wasn't in the room when he and her had sex on the moon. But there's multiple people who say that they did.
It's as confirmed as it can be.
Without being there.
Yeah.
Maybe the Sheraton has a photo or something somewhere.
Maybe they have a two-headed maid now.
Right.
So how long does it take the research in conjunction with the book?
This one took a year because I had to trust him and he had to trust me. And he called me literally, he had just gotten out of prison. So he was in probation. And I had never met anybody who'd been in prison that long. So I flew and I met him in a crowded lobby first. And he was the nicest, most charismatic, like...
Who pays him, you?
No, he can't get... I didn't pay him anything.
He can't get money from his crime. This
Old son of Sam.
I don't know
Sam,
what the
son of Sam.
rule is, but...
Yeah, but did you give him a little gift? Maybe nice bottle of wine or something?
I mean, I know that the movie people are going to involve him in some way, maybe he'll be a consultant or something like that.
And then he could get paid for that?
I don't know what the rules are.
I don't,
when I write a book about...
What if they hire him to be the caterer?
the caterer, right? Or the expert on moon rocks, right? And he knows.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there will be some, and also he can, if he gets infamous, there's speaking, there's stuff
there's
that
other
you
ways
can do.
around it, obviously.
What percentage of all the world's moon rocks did he have?
Well, very tiny. So he stole, there was a safe, and it was marked, it was essentially trash. So it was moon rocks that had already been experimented on that NASA doesn't use anymore, that's shoved in a corner, basically.
Oh, okay.
But he actually stole it from his professor's lab. So his professor had been working on it. So the professor claimed that he ruined his life's work. And that's the reason they threw the book at him.
Oh.
I mean, they put him in jail for 7.5 years.
Hold on, speaking of that, what do you learn?
But it was only 100 grams that he stole in the 600-pound safe.
Right.
So
Wow,
out of
okay.
840 pounds, it was
That's
like
nothing, yeah.
a pound.
But Ben,
right?
what do you learn from moon rocks? That
Well,
was this
that's a good
guy's
question,
lifetime
too.
work.
There was also a piece of Mars on there too, in the safe too. So they to see what the atmosphere. I don't even know. There's all these different things they do, but
Nothing.
They're learning nothing.
They learn the origins of the Earth.
They're learning nothing.
They learn the chemical composition of some celestial bodies.
And NASA could have destroyed the value by just going, oh, yeah, keep them.
Take them.
We just gonna arrest you for just stealing them?
Yeah,
you can
but we
just
don't
have
give a
them.
shit.
We don't give a shit about moon rocks.
Moon rocks.
Right.
Fuck it.
Who cares?
Wow, this is a really.
See what we got in other safes.
Uncle Sully, Beacon Hill. Ask Ben if it's true that he writes books in an empty apartment.
in an empty apartment. I write books in. I have a apartment. It's not empty, but it's my office. And it's I shut the drapes and I have music loud and like I sit in like a dark.
Cool.
I'm like a little hermit when I write.
That sounds sexy, man.
That sounds pretty cool. That's like a movie moment.
It's very
That's
dark.
like one of those.
And,
You don't go to Vermont?
I don't do the whole like misery thing.
You don't
but
get hit by cars.
I did. I wrote
I
Bring
take
Down the
my
House.
Mustang and
Bring Down the House. I wrote in Vegas, and I went and I stayed in a different hotel every night for 3 weeks and wrote that book because I wanted to feel like I was, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so impressed by people who write books.
It's amazing to me.
Does it come easy to you?
It's amazing to me.
The writing isn't the research takes a lot, but I go inside it. I mean, I really become a part of the story. Like I was sneaking around NASA, and the main character was texting
Wait,
me.
how did you sneak around?
So
this?
what happened is NASA didn't want to talk to me. They didn't want anybody writing this, and they told all the scientists not to talk to me. And so I just went on their website, and they have this level 9 tour, and they take 12 people a day, 3 days a week, and you get really inside NASA. So I just signed up, and I'm thinking they're going to cross-check my name, and they're not going to, but no. And so I fly to Houston, and I'm just doing this tour, and you're literally inside where all the astronauts are. You're by this space shuttle simulator, and Dad texts me, and he's like, okay, there's a door. Go through that door, and that's where my office was, and that's where I used to sit at the cafeteria. So I did my own. He was my tour guide as I'm in NASA, and it's all perfectly fine. I mean, they had my name and everything.
Yeah.
They just didn't realize it was the same person that they had told all their scientists not to talk to.
The government, baby.
Wow.
It's a big organization.
The elite of the elite.
What did you learn about NASA that we
First
don't
of all,
know about?
You know, when you think of NASA, you think of the 60s, and you're picturing Tom Hanks in a little silver capsule, but that's not at all what NASA's like. It's all about Mars, and they have like robots and stuff, and it's the coolest place in the world. They have this, I mean, I'm really geeky, but they have this swimming pool that's the largest swimming pool in the world, and they sink a space shuttle into the swimming pool, and they sink an International Space Station, and then the astronauts in full uniforms dive because underwater is similar to being in space, and they work as if they're on the space shuttle underwater in this massive swimming pool. So I'm in there, and Dad's like, his job was swimming around with the astronauts because he was a scuba expert, and so he's like, that's where, you know, and that's where when the moon rocks were stolen, he's taking a shower after the pool, and everyone at NASA's like, did you hear somebody fucking stole 600 pounds of moon rocks?
Oh, sure.
And then everyone's like, and Dad's sitting there, oh, really? And they didn't notice it was stolen for 48 hours. So it was 48 hours after the theft, everyone at NASA realized the safe was gone.
Can I ask you the like moving ahead to the movie part of it? So Social Network is the untold story of the man the kid that created the biggest boom boom ba 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 boom.
Right.
So this one, what's the vision of is it the story that you didn't hear, or like what'll be the thing that the thing?
Well, the subtitle is the amazing story behind the most audacious heist in history. But I think, you know, I don't get involved in the PR and anything, but I think they're gonna. I think this story is really cool because it's like Ocean's 11 meets the right stuff. So it's got both the Ocean's 11 stuff, but then it's got all the space things. But it's also a romance because he was in love, and we've all done something stupid.
And what happened to her?
Well, she dumped him, so he gets to prison. And she and her friend were part of the crime. So the three of them did the crime. Him and a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old girl. And he goes to the courts and says, I did it all. I forced them to do it.
Oh, no.
He takes the rap because he's still in love with her.
The bitch from Juno is going to took the
pinch.
He took it.
And then pinch like a man.
He writes a letter to her every day, right, from jail. He writes a letter every single day. And then his third year, he comes back to his, little room, as his cell, I guess it's called, right? And stacked on his bed are all of the unopened letters because her father wouldn't let her read them. And I contacted her, and she was not happy I was writing this book.
Really?
She's like, a stupid moment in her life.
She should have got involved because I know in his story, she is
no, you know what?
She is an ass.
He doesn't say that. He always is like he loved her and
he's hoping to get back together.
Did it for her.
He's hoping.
Maybe.
What is that guy doing now?
Is she hot?
Well, his. Sure. He described her as very beautiful and super
you didn't
hot.
see her?
I haven't seen her. She didn't want to talk to me.
I bet
she was like the Mark Zuckerberg.
Doesn't she have a Facebook page? Let's take a look at this broad.
I searched for her a lot. I changed her name in the book too because she asked me to. She asked me to. But on CBS Sunday Morning the other day, they did show a picture of her. So I don't know. But his ex-wife was beautiful too. So he got kicked out of his home. He had a hard background. He was a fundamentalist Mormon household, and at 17 he confessed to his parents he had premarital sex. So they banished him to the basement.
Banished.
He was not allowed to speak to anyone in the family because he was going to hell, and then he was kicked out of the house, and they never spoke to him again. So when he went to jail, it was a no-cash bail. Anybody could sign him out for it, and he spent a year in county lockup in Florida in the place called the Submarine, which is the hardcore prison, because no one would sign a piece of paper.
His unreasonable parents.
His parents would not speak to him again, and he was done.
I hate unreasonable religion.
So he had been married at 17 to the girl, 18, the girl he had been having premarital sex with. She's beautiful. And then he met this intern, and that was the next thing.
But now that he's out of jail, where is he? And what is he doing?
And so there's a scene also. He calls his ex-wife because he has nobody's phone number. He's in jail, and he calls her up, and she hears all of the craziness behind him in jail, and she's like, "Well, have fun with your new friends."
That you don't want to hear that. It's like, no, fun here is not good.
How old is he?
He was 25 when he went to jail. He's 32 now, 33. And he's a good kid. He's re-getting his PhD. He studied astronomy and physics in jail and got out. And, he had he didn't do prison was hard.
What was his motivation for stealing this?
It was two things. It was love for this girl. He wanted to impress her, but he also was.
Yeah, but isn't it?
You can impress a girl in other ways than stealing.
You can impress her by saying you're going to be an astronaut.
That's pretty impressive.
You're being rational.
I'm being rational.
It's like you want to impress her the most you can with that kind of young love. You want to.
But then why try to sell it then?
Well, exactly.
For
there
the
was
money.
a financial thing too.
It
was a mix of that's why he said I'm going to take her to Africa.
And she's a bum.
But look, the girl thing, that's all well and fine, but there's got to be an element of just sheer greed that comes into this where he has this, realizes the value, and goes, yeah, I can make some money on this.
But okay,
if he hadn't tried to sell it, he probably even got away with it.
Might have gotten away with it, right?
Say you stole diamonds, just so you can fuck your girl on a bed of diamonds,
right?
Then you go doodly doop doo doo, like. Well, I have diamonds. Am I going to return them to the guy I stole them from? You sell them.
I'm confused. How did he get the safe out?
So
they have to have huge security.
First of all, to get into the lab, it had an electronic cipher lock with all the buttons, and he used fluorescing powder so you could see what buttons had been pressed, and he used a black light to do that, so he knew what buttons to press. He gets into the safe.
The greasy.
He brought a mechanized dolly.
Wait. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But how do you know the sequence?
Well, he says, and I asked him about that too, and he says you can tell with the light by how bright the light is on each key, because when you press it, a little bit comes off of your finger each time you press. A little bit of the oils on your finger comes off on each key.
Darker.
So it's a slight difference. That's what he said. I don't know the answer to that question.
Wait, I don't get that, Ant.
Yeah, it would be the one that fluoresces the most would be the first key, because that's when you have the most oil on it, and it slowly dissipates like paint on a roller.
You think that's true?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what he said. I should recreate that experiment.
Fucking looks cool as shit, though, I bet.
But that's
something that would look really cool.
I didn't redo that experiment.
We should do
so that's a good question. But then he had two girls with him. They had a mechanized dolly that he had gotten from Home Depot. But what's crazy is, there's cameras everywhere. So he borrowed a van that had a NASA emblem on it. He switched the plates in a parking lot, so it was a random thing. He came on a rainy night so that the guards in the kiosks wouldn't go outside. and he had a NASA ID. He found a back door, and he knew how to get into the back door. And so once he had the safe, they get it on, and him and two 19, 20-year-old girls get this massive safe.
But the security cameras. Now you're walking around NASA with a
He knows where all the cameras are, so he essentially gets around the cameras. There's ways to get around it.
It's like a video
Then
game.
when you're in the Jeep, you have to drive at 5 miles per hour because the speed limit is 5 miles per hour through NASA. Otherwise, they arrest you.
Gotta
so
be nerve-wracking.
His getaway was 5 mile an hour
Holy
getaway.
shit, like fucking Austin Powers.
I'm gonna kill you with this safe full of moon rocks.
That sounds like a video game where the guards are like, "Hey, what's that?"
I know.
Must be the wind. And they just go about their business. Bad video game guards. It's raining. I won't go outside.
He pulls up to the last security kiosk, and the guards are 2 feet away. But it's pouring rain. They don't want to get outside.
And they see a NASA van.
See a NASA van that looks a little heavy in the back. For
a little heavy.
A couple of college kids in the front.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's an amazing story.
That is
a crazy story.
I don't read. So when are you doing the audio? Do you do the audio?
Casey Affleck did the audio book.
Wow.
Then I won't do it. Oh, you're keeping it in Boston,
Keeping it in Boston.
See, I never got the
Boston
fucking,
very clicky.
Yeah, they got a couple of Boston
Well, you could have done the audio. Maybe my
Boston
next
Mafia.
book, you'll do the audio.
Who's the guys that do the silly movies?
The
Farrelly
brothers.
Those sons of bitches. But
They
they be hacking.
they use all their old friends.
Yeah, they do. All friends.
I can't have sperm in my hair, you fucking two cocksuckers. There's no. Where's the black people in your fucking books, Ben? Racist Ben.
Oh man.
I got a story.
Do you have a story?
How comfy could it be having sex on moon rocks?
He said it wasn't.
That's got to be really nasty.
He said it wasn't.
Well, you just place the rocks.
Just like
It was
place
under the
rocks
mattress cover.
carefully.
Yeah.
Put a comforter over.
maybe around you, like.
Oh yeah.
An older man can figure out some stuff to do with a moon rock. Some degrading things.
Yeah, horrible.
Stick it in there and go, see if you can float, bitch. see if it's anti-gravity. Stick this in there and see.
Man.
How you feel?
Anything else about NASA?
NASA
And your time in there?
Yeah, it was interesting. So the main character, this Gibson guy, who's the professor he stole from, he claims, and the reason that Thad got so much jail time is that also in the safe, Gibson says were these notebooks, these green notebooks that had his entire life's work that he was going to turn into a book. And when the safe was found by the FBI, there were no notebooks. So he claims that Thad destroyed them. Thad says there never were any notebooks and he never saw any notebooks. The judge basically threw the book at Thad saying, you destroyed this man's life's work. And he was only going to get 2 years in jail, 3 years in jail.
So 7 was the maximum?
It was beyond the max. The maximum for what he had done was really 3 years. But then they claimed that he had interrupted a government operation, which is what the terrorists get. Yeah. So they basically got him as a terrorist.
They can just nail you on anything.
And then
they can make anything
And he had to do every single day, huh?
He did 7.5 instead of 8.
Holy shit.
And it was, he said the worst was the first year was horrible, was because he was in a county lockup in Florida with murderers and rapists and everything in a real
jail. Jail is way worse than prison sometimes.
Did he get raped?
No, not that I know of. I was careful with those kind of questions, but he did say there was a dead person in one cell with him, and he learned for 24 hours, and he learned how to not get killed. He said it was like
that's something you have to learn.
But he did say
you don't want to be there.
When he first got to jail, he couldn't understand anybody because he was a white kid from Utah, and everyone was a black guy from Florida. And he
what's the Fed joint that he went to?
It was called the Submarine Orient County in Tampa, I guess it is.
So where he did most of his time.
Well, he did the first year in Tampa, and then he was moved to Colorado to a federal prison.
To a Fed,
which he said was great.
The Fed prisons, Fed time is beautiful.
He said it was great.
You have to do all Fed time, like all of it, almost 90% when you get Fed time. But federal prisons it's not as much bullshit,
Right. But the first year was not Fed time.
Yeah, because he was jail.
Yeah.
He was in jail.
He was in jail. And so he said that was hard. And the first night.
Did he fought? He fought?
I'm sure. He goes to sleep the first night, and and all of a sudden he's woken up by all the mics are all saying, Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Because they figured out that he was the guy who had robbed NASA.
That is hilarious.
He woken up by all the guards torturing him.
You just kind of want to be anonymous.
Right, you do. And so everyone's like Moonrock, and he became Moonrock.
Now I don't believe you.
What?
No one's sleeping their first night in prison.
It's in there. He said, well, I don't know how many hours he slept.
I don't believe
He did say he went to sleep crying.
Exhausted.
He was
finally
crying.
He just passed out.
Finally.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is having a good night's sleep first?
Well, I don't know if it was a good night. Yeah, but it is a hard.
I'm the moon rock motherfucker, bitches.
Yeah.
Really? Are you really?
But
had sex on the moon
it's
rocks,
a crazy
bud?
story. But in prison he set up an astronomy class and he taught astronomy for the last 2 years, and that's how he got back into the University of Utah when he got out.
Astronomy's very interesting shit too. You know what? You sold me, man. White guy from Boston sold me. I like
Ben's
this guy,
books are really good. They really are. They move. Moving forward, have they started casting the movie or anything?
They haven't, but I read somewhere that they got a director, Will Gluck, the guy who has the new Mila Kunis Justin Timberlake movie coming out. But I read that on the internet, so I don't know anything more than the internet says. But
we had no choice on that either.
I don't. I mean,
you have any choice on casting? Can I play one of the guards that was in the rain and let him?
Yeah, you're like, hey,
let him go. Go ahead.
Go right
no
ahead.
biggie.
We had the guy that played the twins in Social Network.
Oh yeah, Army.
What Army? Thank you.
He's
what
awesome,
a great
isn't he?
guy, man. Holy shit.
That guy's awesome. Army.
I'm gonna watch Social Network.
You love
tonight.
it. It's such a good movie.
I just can't.
And Justin Timberlake's great in it.
I was blown away. I didn't know he was playing both guys.
So there's a model who they superimposed, his head on the other guy, so nobody knows who the other guy is, which is kind of sad. But Army's face is on two different bodies. But
I just thought they cast.
It's like seamless.
It was the fat lady from Everybody Dance. Now they fucking put her.
I thought they just got twins for the part.
Yeah.
There's one guy playing both.
seen this fucking movie now.
Have you met the real twins yet? Have you had those guys in
I've
here?
seen them in the press.
The Winklevi?
Yeah.
They're hysterical.
Yeah, are they?
They'll never give up. They
Really?
believe Mark Zuckerberg is evil man who stole their idea, and they will continue.
What do you think after going
Well,
through all that?
I think Mark is the genius behind Facebook. I do think that he doesn't treat people well, and I think he led them on because they were the cool kids on campus, and they had a website, and they're like, "Hey, come work for us," and he was like, "Work with the cool kids, cool," and then he just blew them off and launched Facebook.
Is that because it's been hinted that he's a bit autistic?
I mean, he's a strange kid.
So
he's very socially awkward. He sweats. And they've been doing tons of media training on him, and he's still like.
Oh, he's a weird kid.
He's a weird kid,
He's
but
really
he's also
strange,
brilliant. But he treats people difficult, and a lot of people along the way have sort of run away from him. But he didn't want. He didn't talk to me. He spent a year refusing to talk to me, and then when the book came out, he called me the Jackie Collins of Silicon Valley. So I don't. He doesn't like me all that much. But
tell him to go fuck
the movie ended
so
up
you
doing.
got all the information based on not him.
Well, I got the other main character, Eduardo, who was his best friend, who co-founded the company, is the one who came to me. I was
He got
sitting.
some dough?
shit, that's
Eduardo
fucked
got
up.
a
He
little
got
money?
5% of Facebook.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
Is that good?
that's
Five
$5
is
billion.
good.
That's what?
$5
Five is
billion.
good.
$5 mil a
Bill.
5% of Facebook is $5 billion.
Yes.
Shouldn't he send me a gift basket? It worked out for him.
How does that even? What's the math on that? That means
It's a $100
Facebook,
billion company.
Holy shit.
Isn't that crazy?
How much is Zuckerberg worth?
About $15 billion.
He
I think, or
sold-
$8 billion, 8 to 15, somewhere. I don't know the number now.
He sold it.
No, they haven't sold it yet, so he still runs it, but that's the valuation.
Amazing.
It's crazy.
Mother
Talk about
son of
billions.
a
Amazing for an idea.
I was reading the other day, there was a kid who was at Stanford who just sold ads for their weekly paper, who Facebook hired in 2004, who's now worth $70 million.
Fuck.
I mean, he was a college student in 2004 writing ads for his paper.
You said you're a techie, right? I have a question.
Yeah, I'm not,
Not a Trekkie, a techie.
No, I mean,
It's just-
I'm
he
a
said
geek, I would
A
say.
geeky.
Yeah.
Okay, you
That
might
could
know
be
this.
anything.
What is Facebook and Twitter? What do they do? Okay, so we agree on the demise of MySpace.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
No, it might make
Justin
a comeback.
Timberlake's
Well,
gonna
Timberlake bought it for a couple of dollars, and
But he's
whatever.
got probably some powerful people behind him to reinvent it.
All right,
into
well,
a
fuck,
music site or
it's
whatever.
gone as
Fair enough.
all intents and
Yeah.
purposes.
Fair enough.
What is going on with Facebook, and what's the root of Facebook and the root of Twitter that could see those two go the direction of MySpace, where
Oh yeah,
Like,
I don't think
what-
Facebook's going to go that way because I think Facebook's just they're using Skype now. I think they're doing a lot of smart things.
I can see that.
I can see
Definitely.
Facebook
Yeah.
staying alive. Twitter, I don't understand how they're going to make money. I think Twitter's great, and I use Twitter, and I love Twitter. It's a great way to reach out and reach a lot of people, and it's incredibly narcissistic. It's all about no one reads other people's tweets; they just tweet. Right, so
It's so true.
I mean, you could have a lot of followers. You tweet to them, and then you just wait for their responses, right? But you're not really reading. But that's Twitter, right? It's all
Shut
about.
up, you're going to ruin it.
Look at me, look at me. Which
But
is
they do have
very
ads.
American.
Yeah,
Everyone wants
yes.
everyone to look at you, right?
It's true, though.
So I think Twitter's really usable. I use it like 5 times a day. Tweet. But how do they make money? Because if they really throw ads all over the place,
you'll
be like, I'm not going to tweet anymore. But Facebook is something you use every day because you want to see the parties you weren't invited to, right? You see all the pictures, or you want to, like, you know, the picture tagging is the genius behind Facebook.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing you look at is where photos. You look at photos.
Here's what it is, and I'm not on Facebook. That's the strange thing about that. I don't understand the workings of Facebook, but didn't MySpace have pictures?
Yeah, but MySpace, you'd go to someone's site and there's like glitter. You know, it was crazy. You couldn't even, like, you can't surf from site to site.
Yeah, everyone
could redo their own page. So like you'd go to some site, suddenly there's like music blaring and the site is shaking, and then the computer freezes up. I don't know. That was my experience.
So Facebook is just the same.
It's the same. Everyone's page is the same. Yeah. And it's like, if a photo comes up in your news feed, it's like you were tagged in a photo, and then you go there and you're like, oh, I was there, or whatever. So
people over customized the noise and the music and videos. 3 videos, 4 would start playing at the same time.
That's crazy.
So you think MySpace will Facebook it and make it like that?
No, I think they'll try. I think MySpace it'll become a music site, a dedicated music site.
You think? Yeah.
Well, Timberlake. I mean, it's going to be about bands, I would think.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
Facebook will keep getting bigger, and Twitter will too. But Facebook's a monster.
Fucking Ben Mezrich you are now the focal point of social. The social world, man.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm fucking Twitter Ben. That's your new shit.
I moved on to the
Ben tweets. That's your fucking Ben tweets. Yeah. That's your shit, man. You the guy. You're the guy. Not on purpose.
Oh, we got in Boston? Are you going to come hang out with me in Boston?
Man, fuck you.
Patrice is a realist, though. He knows when these mics go off, it's a whole different world.
Ben, we are not hanging the fuck out unless we're both famous and I'm, hey, Ben, and we do one of these. And I'm hanging with Ben.
No doubt.
Did we do it? Anything else about Sex on the Moon?
No, it's
the
out.
new book by Ben Mezrich.
Now, so.
Sex on the Moon, the great book by Ben Mezrich that he named himself.
That I came up with the title.
And had no help.
From his lovely wife.
I'm going to check it out. And I don't
I'm speaking at Bryant Park at 12:30. Yeah. I'm getting in the Bryant Park Reading Room. I think it's an outdoor thing. And then tonight at 7 at the Strand downtown.
Oh, for real?
So signings, yes.
Signings.
Yeah, that's great.
Ben Mezrich on Twitter. Spelled Mezrich.
Thanks. And I love your tweets. And the whole Anthony Weiner thing was the greatest moment. How amazing was that when I opened up my Opie tweet? I read yours every day.
Well,
and I'm like,
seriously?
It was me and Ant.
And I was like, you got a picture. Great. You got the picture.
Well,
how did you get the
Do you blame us?
No, I would have done that
too. We kind of feel bad because we just, Anthony especially made a nice friendship with the guy.
I was out drinking with him like the Monday before.
Really?
But he was waving that.
Yeah,
no, the guy who had Weiner's picture.
Breitbart.
And he was waving that.
But that was like a moment in history right there. You can't not put that.
He was waving it around.
Nothing about y'all getting credit for that shit.
Incredible stuff. Yeah.
We got international attention. We just don't brag about it.
I know.
You just don't what?
We don't brag about it. We did a day on it, and then we just moved on.
I mean, that was the biggest thing.
You didn't hear about it, right?
I fucking didn't. I didn't hear that you guys
why are you
broke
laughing
that.
at me when I say that?
They've had the picture.
Sam laughed, motherfucker. I didn't laugh. I'm looking at you like I didn't know you broke the story.
We were psyched that we got some attention, of course.
It was amazing.
The guy was waving the picture around, and now he's passing around the room.
You're not the reason
me
he
and
got
Ann are
busted.
looking at each other.
Me
and Ann are looking at each other like.
You didn't.
What?
You're not the reason he got bopped.
Well, you're the reason.
We're the reason he got fired.
You're the reason he left. Yeah.
Pelosi was like,
look, it wasn't looking good for the guy.
We'll get through this and everything. And then it changed.
Oh, yeah.
And the news got out that right after the full nude came out, Pelosi went, he's got to go. He's got to go.
No,
here's what happened.
The picture was going to get out.
Let me show you with my phone exactly how this happened. I grabbed the phone from him. He was sitting
He was passing around the room.
Passing around the room. Now, Private Pile from Full Metal Jacket, Vincent D'Onofrio, was sitting right
where
there.
You're sitting, Patrice.
Yeah, so he was involved in this whole thing, too.
We blame him for this whole thing.
You fucking... make this right, man. Make this story fucking right, man.
This was some covert shit.
Okay.
So, and the listeners were involved.
Well, and make sure you explain how you cockblocked me the first time, too, by the way.
Well, because that was too obvious.
All right, go ahead.
The first time...
And we'll tell the story.
Yeah, we passed the phone around. And it gets to Opie. Opie takes the phone.
I already had my phone out. I'm taking this
puts it on the board, puts it on his board, and goes like this. Now, Breitbart's looking over, and I know he's going to fucking lose his mind. So I grab the phone real quick.
So I got a blurry.
So he gets his
my first picture was blurry.
Hand picture.
Does Breitbart fucking hate you guys now?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. On the outside. I don't know what really. We'll see what happens. So
my opinion, we don't know for sure. He loved the whole
he's
thing.
probably only mad because he didn't break it.
Right.
Well,
and he
couldn't. He backed himself into a corner where he was like, he'd said he wouldn't do it because of the family and this, and he's not going to do this sensational bullshit just for the hell of it.
And who
but
got
he was
him the
showing
picture?
It. Some chick. But Monday, when we went out drinking, he was showing everyone. Firemen, cops. We were hanging out at some bar. He's showing everyone in the bar.
There.
Right. It was out there.
Even Bar Walters, after the fact, said, I even saw the picture.
I have pictures.
Chose not to blah, blah, blah.
I got pictures of Ann Coulter looking at the picture. And she's got, like, her hand over her face, and she's freaking out and shit. It's funny as fuck. So here's where this comes into play, and the audience, Pal Talk, comes into play. So I grab the phone, and I go like this. I go, Opie, I don't want you to have this because you're going to take a picture of it. I go like this. I go, but take a look. Take a look. And he leans over, and I'm putting it right into the camera here, and they screen capped the shit out of it. Someone then tweeted it.
Sent it back to us.
And sent it back to us.
Awesome.
So I tweeted it. We both tweeted it, and it was everywhere.
That's genius.
From a screen cap, because I was just...
So the listeners
he
took
never
the
knew.
picture.
All Breitbart saw was me holding the camera up and showing Opie, but it's showing the camera to Pal Talk.
Wow.
This is your next book.
This is Sex on the Moon Part 2.
Man, this is your next book.
That is really,
Come on, let's do this.
And then I had sex in bed with Anthony Weiner, just laying on top of him.
Yeah, we could sex it up. We could sex it up for you if you need to.
Breitbart didn't realize until he probably got home, and then he called you and yelled at you?
I knew about an hour later.
He called me up and was like, could you put out a statement that said that I had nothing to do with the release of this and shit? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So he goes, yeah, send it to me immediately because I need this. So I wrote this statement.
I remember your statement was awesome.
Yeah, I just wrote a statement. It was like, look, he didn't know this was going down or anything. Statement. And then his lawyer gets back to me with, like, corrections on my statement and other things I should say, words like indemnification and shit. And I'm like, I ain't fucking sending this back. So I called my agent, and he said, no, fuck him.
Yeah.
So that's where it ended.
Wow.
And
how do y'all feel about this?
I feel like
this is old news, but how do you feel?
I feel a little dirty.
I feel a little dirty.
Motherfuckers.
A little dirty.
I feel a little dirty.
A little dirty.
But what was your intention to be journalists?
No. Our intention was to be two radio guys that hadn't gotten a good story in a while. So we're like, hey, you get this dick pic. And all people were talking about is, we got to see this dick pic. Everyone wanted to see it.
I feel dirty. Hold on.
Okay, you know what? Not you. So if you feel dirty, you didn't get dirty enough because you guys should have fucking.
I justify it like this.
Rode that to the end, though.
I justify it like this. That picture was gonna get out sooner than later.
Fair enough. Fair.
And we took our shot. Said fuck it. It's not like this thing is not going to be out there.
But y'all didn't. So if you was gonna ride that horse, why didn't you ride it? Why didn't you really ride it? Instead of like it kind of, but I mean in terms of we broke it. Like
we turned down interviews and stuff. It went on Red Eye. Was it?
I was on Red Eye. I talked about it on Hannity.
But everybody wanted to talk to us. I just said
no.
You should have said fucking yes if you're gonna do that.
I made a video and said, "Look here."
Yeah, I'm sure he was mad.
I felt kind of bad because he was just saying to like some of the producers at Red Eye when I wasn't even there, so he had no reason to say this shit. He's like, you know, man, that Anthony guy. Because we just hung out like the other night. It goes really cool to fucking just sit there and drink.
A dude's dude.
Yeah, just like fucking drinking.
But
and
really, he's fucking a TMZ Jew.
And then it was like I just fucking. And then I just fucking like. You know what? I blame the Pal Talk community.
Fuck me, man.
It's a great story because he would have done the exact same thing to us.
Well, he did. And technically,
and I'm not trying to justify. I'm just saying these are all the facts.
Not even technically. Right. His site, Breitbart, fucking his news site, got us suspended when we were at fucking.
Remember Homeless Charlie?
Homeless Charlie. He's the guy that reported about the homeless guy that was on our show talking about having sex with the Queen and shit.
Oh, yeah.
No, he blew it off like, hey, I wasn't in charge then. There's somebody else. It went through. It didn't go through me. And his name was on it.
I'm not, and this has nothing to do with Breitbart because everybody got their agenda. I'm just talking about if you was going like Anthony Weiner. I know it got out.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're going to be the guys that broke it, you should have.
It made enough news. It was out there. And once that happened, Pelosi did an about face and just said,
"Well, that was the end of him.
You got
a picture of."
We were on every news channel. Nice. We had a news cycle for about a week. on every one of these fucking channels.
Get him out of there.
Old footage of us, the dumb video I made in my bedroom telling my side of the story.
Really?
I made another Democrat's going to get in there anyway.
I think my cable was turned off.
I pulled out a MacBook and I made a quick video, and half hour later, CNN had it on TV.
Yeah.
Because I tweeted it. That's the beauty of what we're talking about with the Facebook and the social network.
The most fucked up thing during the whole thing was when the news would show the studio and Breitbart, but they were showing fucking Vincent D'Onofrio and Breitbart talking and saying, yeah, this was released and stuff. And if you were just watching this, you think, why is Private Pile showing Anthony Weiner's dick pic from fucking, like, it didn't make sense.
He got involved with our story.
Yeah, and he was all over the news.
So is he on Breitbart's side, or what side is he on?
No, he's not a fan of
He's a real liberal, like real crazy liberal on Breitbart.
That's Breitbart there.
Yeah. That's Breitbart.
That's Pile right there.
And fucking Colbert did the funniest fucking thing. Took some of this video and said Breitbart's excuse was he didn't know that there was a camera in the room. He goes, and you could see from this footage there isn't a camera near him. He goes, look, even on the close-ups you could see no cameras were even near him at the time.
That's awesome.
It's hysterical.
And Breitbart somehow
it around.
had some kind of morality with the picture, like it was a dude thing, but he was never going to put it on his site.
That's what he said.
Is what he's somehow going to get out. I don't think he wanted us to release it. I don't think he wanted the timing to be what it was. He wanted it on his terms, and we blew it up for him. You know, we were the ones that blew it up. But like I said, from what I saw, he was showing everybody this picture.
And I think he was begging for someone to take it and move it forward.
Because
he
couldn't do it.
He had
felt
already
like he
backed
couldn't be
himself
the
into
guy.
a corner.
He trapped himself.
But I think he also wasn't sure. Like, he was like, I really want this out here, but out there, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I really believe
Vincent
that.
D'Onofrio is like right in the middle of the story.
You know what? Breitbart will come back on the show, and we'll have a discussion about this.
Yeah, eventually.
It'll take a little while, but he'll come back.
They talked to him on Red Eye, and then I talked on Red Eye. Not together. They tried to get us on the same show together. That didn't pan out.
Oh, still?
We were in the building at the same time, too.
Really?
Yeah. He was doing another show, and I was doing Hannity. And I was, like, looking around the halls like, oh, fuck. Let's bump into him. It's going to be awkward.
Actually, what happened is, even though, you can speculate that he was going to do what he was going to do with it. But the fact is, it's like I show you a picture of, like, this is my girl naked.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, whoa. And then somebody, boom, your naked girl is there, and
But that's how it happens.
All over the fucking
You got to
place.
understand,
and
though.
It's like, now I am looking at you like, God,
but you know what?
Man.
But that's how it happens.
And it wasn't his picture.
Some chick gave it to him.
Some chick gave it to him.
Right,
How did he get it?
So then he felt. Then he feels like it's
goofy
his
thing.
picture.
Yeah.
He's doing
It's not his picture.
He's doing
Hey, check it out.
Look at what I got.
Well, you got to be a little more subtle. It's like fucking, you don't walk into the club and show De Niro the new Cadillac.
Right.
Sitting out there.
So
What's the matter with you?
Okay,
now what's the matter with you?
Now
So
it's our picture.
You happen to have just been a victim of what would a victim and a beneficiary of what somebody else was going to do any goddamn way.
And when I was handed that, and there's a camera right in front of me, and I know these devious fucks that are watching this are gonna screen cap it, it was too tempting.
Right.
I was the child in the candy store. I was just like,
I think it was a brilliant
But
video.
here's what you did.
I think, what? Information wants to come out, right?
Yeah, yes.
Information wants to come
Here's
out.
why Anthony's a piece of shit.
all right.
You scooped Opie.
Well, no, because then we were fighting to see who our thumbs were aching to see who was going to tweet it first.
No, because then the other part of the story is then he shows me on his phone the picture that was screen capped that was sent to him.
Right.
And then I said, well, now fuck you. And I took a picture of his phone. And that was the one that made it out there.
Right.
So I ended up scooping him.
You scoop Anthony.
Because the picture of the picture.
Yeah, we were.
Picture.
Yeah,
I like Opie scooping you.
That was
we were
bad.
going back and forth scooping
I don't like
each other.
your scooping of Opie.
That
I
was
like
bad.
Opie's
Wait, let me
scoop.
explain really fast. So the girl owned the picture, gave it to Breitbart. Breitbart felt he owned the picture. Then Anthony shows Pal Talk. Then whoever took the picture of that owned the picture, sent it to Anthony. Now Anthony owns the picture. And then I take the picture of his phone, and now I own the picture.
It's like deep Inception.
It was
It's
crazy.
just
level after level.
Are you writing this down for your book?
It's just a picture of his hard mule.
That was the whole thing.
That was it right there.
That was the whole thing, though. But that brought down.
That's the one that went everywhere.
Brought down a politician.
That's when I
right there.
scooped Anthony
And
after.
then, did you read the
he scooped
websites
me,
that were
he
saying
scooped-
that he couldn't have taken that picture himself? himself because of the angle.
Yeah,
so there must have been a third person in the, a second person in the room.
A second person in the room. They're setting up strings like ballistics.
Right.
You guys are third degree of separation from the bitch that got to tweet the picture to the fucking world.
Yeah.
That is fucking magnificent.
That was fucked up.
I'm saying.
I'm very impressed.
Took our shot.
I was pretty
I'm very
impressed by
fucking
that.
impressed. That's almost
pretty
like
impressed.
Watergate.
We haven't had
Took that
press in a
motherfucker
few
down.
years. We said, fuck it, we're taking our shot.
Oh, that's awesome.
My uncle, who's like staunch Republican and stuff, was he was very, very happy about it. He's like, good, if we can't elect him out, erect him out. It's like, get it?
Because,
Erection. Oh, he's old. Come on.
give him a break.
Give him a break.
Wow, that's fucking, boy, I wish I wasn't so lazy. You guys do some good shit.
That's some good shit.
We had a
Being a
nice,
fucking
When you're not
hard worker.
here, it's all kinds of shit.
we had a nice,
Sons of bitches. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
we had a nice,
It's good to know you guys. Did you get a pat on the back from the fucking people in charge?
they didn't even say a word to us.
No.
Not one word.
We were just happy they weren't going to drag us in and bitch us out for something. For getting attention. What are you doing getting your show attention in the news? Stop it.
They just looked you up and down and went,
We gave the company a shitload of press you can't pay for, and they didn't even acknowledge it happened.
Jesus.
Yep.
It's so weird around here.
Jesus.
We're on every news channel for 3-4 straight days, and
No
not one of those guys came in.
Jeez.
No.
Not even on a
Nothing.
human level. Wow.
Nothing.
Not even on a human.
Nothing.
Not even on the bald kid with the glasses was
Nothing.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, that inspired our flow chart. If you look at our flow chart up there, could you read that, Sam? Sam, the top one, it's the simplest flow chart ever. It's diamond shaped. There's one box on top, two in the middle, and one at the bottom.
Yeah.
What is it? It's so easy.
It says.
Oh, he needs a mic.
Oh, why?
I was asked a question.
Yeah, but why? Can't you just yell it?
It says, did you do good?
Did you do good? Now it goes down to either yes or no.
Right, the two
Splits
options.
off, right? And then, regardless, yes or no, it goes back to one, which reads,
There is a problem.
there's a problem. That is how everything here works.
Not even
No matter
on
what
a
happens.
human level
Yeah.
did they say, wow, you guys got that pick.
This is the strangest place I've ever
You
worked at.
brought down a fucking politician with his fucking dick.
Nancy Pelosi, who was fucking Speaker of the House.
Knows about us now.
You know, she was like, oh, these two idiots fucking posted his dick.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Oh,
He's got to go.
Ben, when are we going to write the book?
the next book.
Yeah?
The
Couple months,
scandal.
we'll get into this?
The
I love
Wiener,
it.
The Wiener
Ben
scandal.
can't do it.
There's a lot of angles on this
Wiener
one.
scandal.
Too many old people in it.
Yeah, where's the young
That's
genius?
way too
We need the
old
young
for
genius.
Ben.
22-year-old genius.
Oh,
somewhere.
you should have been around in Boston when we were there. And, full of piss and vinegar when we cared. Yes.
And the name of the book will be Did You Do Good? We Have a Problem.
We have a
That's a
problem.
perfect
That is
name for a
Oh,
book and
boy.
everything.
That could be your
That's
bio,
good.
your biography title.
But you came up with that name already. I just.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
I know it's my name.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Let's get Ben out of here. He's
Politics is hard.
Yeah. Politics is
hard.
Oh,
that's
shit.
good.
Oh, shit.
These are good.
Bingo.
These are all titles we are not using because I am not divvying up any money with anybody.
All these little fucking. How about just don't tweet balls? Don't tweet your
tweet your
balls
dick.
and dick.
There's a guy that doesn't
Don't
understand
tweet-
social networking.
Don't tweet your cock all over.
Yes.
That guy did not
My
understand
God.
how the whole
He
thing
didn't read
works.
the.
Dunce.
He didn't see the social network.
You thought it was just
No.
some old guy with an old school, like, hey, this new technology and shit. It's like, hey,
This is great.
I don't have to Polaroid it and send it in the mail.
Mail a Polaroid.
Tweet my penis and no one will see it.
Do not bend, fold,
Could he
spindle, or
have not
mutilate.
said that it's not his dick, isn't his face ain't in it?
No, he can't.
You could kind of see like the bottom part of his face, a little.
Didn't deny it.
Yeah.
Let's get Ben Mezrich out of here.
Yes.
Ben, it's always a
Ben.
pleasure. You always have great
Fantastic,
stories.
man.
Thank you very
The
much.
new book is called Sex on the Moon, the amazing story behind the most audacious heist in history.
Sounds intriguing.
Available
too. I
now,
like that.
Amazon.com, or download the book.
Yeah,
And he's trying to stay subtle in his upgrade. But I see he got the $100 laceless cons on.
Oh, shit.
shit.
And his
Patrice will
fucking
pick
glass,
out.
his glasses are custom.
Yeah, those
You're
are
looking
nice.
more polished, Ben.
Am I looking a
He's
little?
trying to,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
trying to stay fucking
It's all
good
my
old
wife.
Ben,
It's
but
all Tanya.
yeah.
She tells me what
Yeah,
to
he's
wear.
I saw
flashy.
it. Was that live when I saw you? No, Don Imus this morning. Were you?
I was,
Don Imus. What was he saying? How's he doing?
Imus was great.
We always comment on the great head of hair Imus has. He's like 105 years old and he's just got like a Prince Valiant hairdo. It's amazing.
He's almost at the last stage of drinking from the wrong goblet.
That's what I was saying the other day. Drinking from the wrong. Oh damn it! I drank the wrong goddamn goblet. I was having son of a bitch.
He is right at the. He is right there, looking like
a wrong goblet.
Wrong goblet face.
You walk in, he's there, all old, can't pick his sword up and shit. The wooden one, quick.